Hi, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Naomi, and this is Naomi Joy Knits, NJ Knits, where I talk about my knitting. So please be welcome. Happy New Year. It's been a while since I've chatted to you and seen you. Please excuse the possible moving about because the setup is on my lap, so there may be a bit of jiggling that occurs. So Happy New Year. If you're new here, welcome, and thanks for stopping by and having a listen. And if you're returning, hello, nice to see you. I hope you had a great New Year, and I hope you got lots of yarn and or didn't get lots of yarn, depending on your desires. But I hope you had a lovely time and got to see some people that you wanted to see. I saw loads of people and was doing a lot of moving about in order to do so. So it was tiring but lovely. Really, really nice. I'm currently in a different place, as you may notice. I am in the United States of America, one of the places from which I hail, and I'm in Oregon. So I grabbed the light. I am jet lagged, so I get up at like 5 in the morning, but I waited until it was light to show you some things. These are some things I'm about to give away, so I will show them to you. I have some fun comment to read out from last time. I have some finished objects to show you, a fair amount because it's been a while. I have a couple whips to talk about, one that I don't have with me, and I have some mending to show you as well. So we can start kind of with that because that's what I'm wearing. So I need to do some mending, as you may be able to see here. Another mending waiting to happen. But this is a jumper I got when I was about 12. It's from Shetland. My dad got it for me. My dad is Scottish and my mum is American, so I grew up between the two countries, as in I lived some of the time in Scotland and I went to school in America though. Anyway, point is, this is from many years ago, and it's got some moth holes in it. And I learned to darn during lockdown, and I darned this because it had some sort of big holes, and I used some other Shetland wool, and now it's a polka dot jumper, which I love. And it's only, obviously, the moths only eat in the front centre sections of jumpers. They never eat, like, under the arms or behind in the back. But I have a bit of darning here as well. And one nice big one here. And one here as well. So it's lovely. I just need to do some here. And now there's a bit I just found here as well. I'm not sure how to mend this patch. I don't know how to darn on an edge. Something that YouTube will probably show me. So, that's what I'm wearing. It's a lovely raglan sort of jumper. And it's very scratchy. Very, very scratchy. I'm currently wearing it with just a bralette, but it's scratchy. I was saying to someone, I think it was Caroline from Caroline's Knits, we were talking about scratchy levels of things, and I was like, people say that like they get like that things feel less scratchy to them, but I think my experience has been that things don't feel less scratchy. I just care less about how scratchy they feel. I feel like that's really what's occurring when people say that they're getting used to the scratchiness or that it doesn't feel so scratchy anymore. I think they're really saying that they just aren't worrying so much about the fact that it feels scratchy and they're not like bothered by it. I do sometimes get a bit of a rash here. Not rash, but like a bit of reaction on my skin. But not currently. I have had a haircut. A bit of a mullet situation happening. So that's a thing. So let me jump straight in. And I will show you, and I do have one little piece of acquisitions to show as well. So I'll start with some finished objects. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the Christmas socks that I made, because I was starting them last time, and I did finish them, but they are with my partner and I'm now away from the boat, so they got left on the boat. So I'll show you some pictures, beautiful pictures here. They came out so beautifully. I'm more than thrilled with them in every way. Now the only question is to see if I left myself enough to finish my herbarium socks, which I will show you the first one here, because I stole some yarn from that skein to do the heels and toes of the Christmas socks. The pattern is called Christmas Eve socks, and I can't remember the designer name, but it's a free pattern. And it's a great pattern. I recommend it. The colour work is addictive. There's two motifs. There's the tree and then the other like starry sort of thing. Easy to memorise, and once you've done it a couple times, even if you haven't memorised it, you can just look back at what you did before. There is one sneaky little mistake, which I think I might have showed you on the last video. And I challenged my partner to find it. She is a fingerprint analyst, so her job is literally spot the difference. That's literally her job. She looks at fingerprints and she spots the difference. So I was like, okay, here's the section where they're not the same. See if you can spot where I've made a mistake. I just forgot to do one green bit on the tree. So it's more solid tree colour than it should be on one section. But I did it all the way around, because once I noticed I'd done that, I just went, well, I'll just do it this way. But yeah, those socks came out really, really lovely, and I'm really pleased with them, actually. And also, I'm really pleased with it's the second pair of colourwork socks, and I'm really pleased with the tension on them, because my first pair, the tension was, I think, a bit too tight, and the socks are kind of hard to get on. But anywho, speaking of socks, I'll show you my second finished object, which is a pair of Thicksgiving socks. And boy, are they thick-giving. I worked on these whilst I was in Prague visiting friends. And no, I didn't. These were my Christmas cast on. I cast these on Christmas Day, and I finished them like 3 or 4 days later. They're so quick, the Thicksgiving pattern. The thread I used throughout is the alpaca lace weight that I used for my Gibson ruffle blouse and for my cherry. So that's the navy that you see throughout the whole of the sock. And then I used scraps for the rest. So the cuff is the scraps of my partner's, what I called volcano socks. I don't know why I called them that. I think the stitch pattern I chose just kind of looked like volcanoes. So this is the volcano yarn. Oh no, I think that was the colorway, it was volcano. That's why I called them the volcano socks. Anyway, it's scraps from another pair of socks for the cuffs. And then it's that yarn that I found in a charity shop for the body of the sock. And then here we have some boucle. This is the boucle from the joggers that I made, a random little tiny leftover. And this is boucle from a hoodie I made my partner. And the boucle, you can see it's so thick. You can see how thick it is because it kind of like goes in once it goes back to the other wool. And I'm really excited to hear about how these wear, because the boucle is really, really intense and thick, and I feel like that'll make a really nice heel for a sock. Anyway, and then the toes are scraps from two different, actually they're scraps from the same sock yarn. They're scraps from the child sock yarn that I bought in Canada and made a pair of child socks with. So this is the yellow bit, which is like we're changing to the next sock now, wool, because they dye it yellow just to say like, okay, stop using this, the next bit is for the second sock. And then this is just leftover from the toe, because they give you loads of extra in case you know, want to make something really long or something. So yeah, that's my scrappy socks. I used a load of scraps for it, which is very nice. And I have this really beautiful thick pair of socks, and they're very long because they are for my friend's partner, who has a size 12 foot. I tried them on my uncle because he has a similar size foot, and he was very jealous, I must say. I'll show as well some pictures of my family. I gave away all the things that I showed you last time, and they were all very happy. My uncle was very pleased with his slipover. I was saying that I was a little worried about it, but he was very pleased. The comment I wanted to read out, I do a thing on my videos if you're new, where I like to read out a comment that made me smile or laugh, or that I think is interesting, or just anything from the previous video, and this comment literally made me laugh out loud. So if you haven't seen my previous video from before Christmas, it won't make as much sense to you, but essentially in that video I forgot to show something that I was knitting. It was my Christmas socks, and so I came back to show it, but I had been to the dentist and I had like a numb face, and so when I came back to show this, it was like I was doing my normal podcast, and then it cuts to a me in a different shirt being like, so this is the thing I forgot to talk about, but my face was half numb, so I was like not moving my face on one side. So anyways, this is the comment about that video. This is from Jeanette, and she says, so this is Jeanette. Thank you for your comment, Jeanette. It made me laugh out loud. So she says, Naomi, how dare you? I almost peed my pants watching future swollen face Naomi with her Elizabethan ruffle situation popping on all of a sudden, crying with laughter face. And then she, who I call the Ruffalo in my head, yes I did, graced us a second time with her presence. Don't get me wrong, I'm extremely sorry you had a cavity that needed to be dealt with, and I sincerely hope you weren't in too much pain, but it really made my day. Thanks for the spinning content. I got a beginner's hand spindle set a couple of years ago and always thought I was doing something wrong. Turns out, I'm just not supposed to be really great at things. I do so love your little nuggets of wisdom, and I might just dust that spindle off and give it a go again. Jeanette, I really think you should dust that spindle off and give it a go again. And I really, really, really am pleased to hear that you thought that was a useful piece of information. I was showing some spinning content, and I was saying that, like, when you start off, you just should be bad at things, and that's how you should start. So when it's not working right, just carry on. I think that's my biggest nugget of knitting wisdom when I'm teaching someone in the moment, when I'm teaching them how to knit. If in doubt, carry on and pretend everything is just fine, and it probably will be. If you're like, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. What am I looking at here? Just keep going and pretend it's fine. It'll be fine. And a lot of the time, that's true. There is something about knitting where it's like, people have a tendency just to like, no, this can't be right. What is happening? But I think a lot of the time that really sees you through crises. Just stay calm, pretend everything's fine, and carry on as if it is, and it will be okay. Anyway, so, out of order as usual, let's carry on with my finished objects. So, I finished the Christmas socks and then the Thicksgiving socks, which I'm going to give away tomorrow, because we're celebrating 12th night, and I know, it's 12th night either today or yesterday, depending on what you consider to be 12th night. 12th night is a thing that people used to celebrate, which is like the 12th day of Advent, I think. Anyway, it's where the name for the Shakespeare play came from, because they used to have a big celebration with like lots of entertainment. And so, yeah. I'm going to stop talking about things that I actually have no knowledge of, because it's not particularly useful to be given knowledge from someone who knows nothing about the thing. Anyway, I really love this yarn that I found in the charity shop. I love the depth of colour in it. It's a heathered yarn, and it's kind of similar to this, where it's got a lot of depth in colour. Like, this jumper, like, just look at all that. I just love a heathered yarn. It's so beautiful. Anyway, that's my finished object. This is an old finished object, which I made ages ago in 2 different thicknesses of yarn, which is going to be given away. It's got the tiniest of ribbings. Look at how tiny the ribbing is. I believe I just made this up, the pattern, but it's being given away because my partner no longer wears it. I think this is about a bulky-ish weight, and I just made it in garter stitch, so it's just using up scraps. My friend has this hat in reverse, so the thick black bit is at the bottom and this bit's at the top, and so my partner has this one, and she no longer wears it, so I'm going to give it to someone who will wear it more. I'm not entirely certain who that person is, but you know, you never know when you need a knitted gift, so I'm just gonna hold on to it. This is like bulky, and this is like maybe worsted weight, or this is super bulky and this is like bulky, but anyway, it's a cute hat. Made it quite some time ago. So that's a random hat that I have. I'm gonna give away. Then I have a finished ranunculus, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to my friend, whose partner is the one getting the Thicksgiving socks. The more I look at this ranunculus, the more I'm certain I've done something wrong here. I spoke about this last time. I must have done some kind of craziness with the short rows, is the only thing I can think of. I'm a little sad about it, I have to say, but hopefully it just won't be noticed and we'll move on. I love wrapped stitches, they're so beautiful. I just love them. And I went and visited my friend's daughter, who has the other one that I made of these ranunculus, and it's so cute because I messed up the yarn overs, and so it doesn't make a diamond, it makes like a triangle where there's like a little tail on the triangle that goes the other way, so like the bottom bit just went off to the side, and it's quite a cute pattern in itself. But yeah, these ones are actually diamonds, which is great. And I made it longer and a bit wider as well. And I also made the mistake of adding increases for the sleeves at the back of the jumper. So this is a real not obstructed by perfection jumper. I don't think it matters that there's sleeve increases right in the centre back, but if you're sitting there going, Naomi, honestly, that's one step too far. You can't just have random sleeve increases at the centre back and pretend like that's a fine gift to give someone. I hear you, and I agree with you in principle. I just have to follow my heart in these things. I can't follow my principles. And my heart says, it's fine. It's fine, Naomi. You're all fine. Everything's great. They're gonna really love their gift. But if you're sitting there going, I cannot believe that you left sleeve increases in the back of your jumper and decided to still give it as a legitimate gift to someone, I really hear you. I do. Anyway, it's not the front, right? I do need to sew in a tag so that it's obvious which one wears the front, because otherwise I need to teach her to look for this stupid back increase thing. We don't want to point that out, do we? So it's not quite finished because I have to do that, but I will I'll try it on and show you some footage. I'm not gonna like change my situation because the computer's on my lap, but it's lovely. It's really soft, it's really squishy. My friend's daughter was wearing her ranunculus yesterday, and she just like puts her arms in it and just like squishes it around. She gets her arms inside of it. I mean, it is oversized, it's very big on her, but she does seem to love it. Also, update on my mum's jumper that I made her in the summer. She felted it, So that is also going to the 4-year-old. I already gave it to her, and I haven't seen her in it. She doesn't seem to want to try it on, but it's very cute. It's very nice. It's just felted. So sad. Good thing I'm giving my mum a couple more t-shirts for 12th night. So this... Normally I make things for myself and give them away. This time the opposite happened. That 1898 hat that I've been talking about making for my dad for ages. Finally made it. So here it is. This is the 1898 hat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's a great pattern. It makes like the thickest, warmest ear flap hat you could possibly have. I made it for my dad, but we've been skiing a couple times now, and he tends to wear his hats, which I never noticed. But he wears his hats like this, like off his ears, probably because he just gets too warm too quickly, and then quite often will take them off. So an ear flap hat, maybe not in retrospect the best thing for him. Also, turns out I've made him about 1,200 hats. I had no memory of this, but we got he's literally worn a different wool hat every single day I've been here, and I'm like, maybe he doesn't need another hat. Also, I love this one, and so I think I'm gonna keep it. It is the warmest thing, and so normally for me as well, I have quite a big head, so I made this for my dad, but I've also got a big head, so this fits me. And the thing about this pattern, it's so cool. It's a free pattern, so I can tell you what it is, but you start by making a headband, but it's a double thick headband. So you make a headband that's twice as wide as this, and the middle, these are slipped stitches, so you slip them every other row, and that makes it fold on itself basically when you fold it in half. And then this bit for the flap, you're knitting this way, so you just increase, go straight, and then decrease, and then you carry on knitting, and then you do it again, increase, go straight, decrease, carry on knitting, and then you graft the stitches together, so you curch and stitch together, so then you have a headband. And I was gonna make a hat like this for my partner, and I ran out of wool, so I just made the headband. I think I pulled the headband out because she never wore it and she didn't really like it. But anyways, it makes a great headband. This is like double squish. It's in garter stitch, so it's super squish, and it's double thick. So it's the thickest thing. Like, if I could show you how thick, I mean, you can see it's like that thick. It's like that much thickness. It's very thick on your head, and it cups your ears. And then you pick up both sides, the 2 stitches from this side and from the other side, and you start knitting, and you basically make the crown of a hat. In retrospect, I probably could have done an extra like 3 rows to make this just a tiniest touch longer, but I didn't want it to be too long because you can't really fold this one up because it's an ear flap hat. So I'm kind of happy that it's a little bit short rather than a bit long, but it's amazing. Whenever I wear a beanie, I always wear it like this, basically, because I want it to cover my ears, and like, if I had it cover my ears and I wore it normally, it would like do that. So I always wear them like at a weird angle on my head, which always stretches them out. So it's really nice to be able to just put a hat on normally and have it cover my ears the way I want it to. The ear flaps are slightly different, and it does slightly annoy me, but we're gonna move on. This one's like floppier and bigger, and this one's like just a little bit too small, and doesn't flop in this way, it kind of flops out that way. It'll block out, right? Yeah. Anyways, I love it. I absolutely love this hat. And the wool I knit it in is hand spun. So that's a thing. That's a cool thing. That is all. Make one of these hats. It's the squishiest thing you'll ever feel. It's with it's done with like worsted weight yarn, so this was hand spun, so who knows what weight it was, but it was pretty thick. So that is this. I've only got some darning to show you. So I darned a load of socks, and then I was darning upstairs, and my mum was like, "Oh, can you darn some of my socks?" So I darned 3 of hers. These are the socks I always darn. They are from Costco, they are merino wool. I should wear them all the time, and I've darned them before. This is previous darning. This is previous darning, and then this is the new darning. So I'm just showing them off because I'm proud of myself. That's old darning, which is held up, so I didn't need to do that one. But I had to do its mate. This one needed some extra darning on bottom and top, so now it's looking... I'd have to say this one's looking a bit like, okay, it's gonna become all darning soon. And then these ones, this one also needed a top up on the darning. This is the old, this is the new. This one, same thing. I always rub my socks here at the heel. That's where they always fall apart, so that's that. And then these ones needed a lot of darning. This darning is a little bit loose. I'm slightly worried about it, but I'm not entirely sure how to fix the loose darning, so I'm just going to leave it and wait for it to inevitably fall apart, and then I guess darn over it. I don't know. See how it's like you can kind of see between the things? I'm not really sure what to do about that. A bit loose on the darning there. The way you darn is you basically weave. You like stitch long stitches across the thing, and then you stitch that way. But you go, you know, up, over, below, over, below, over, below, and then you like anchor it in the side of the sock. It's really fun. I really love it. And it's really satisfying to like mend something. It's annoying because I like getting rid of things as well, and I would love to like have less stuff. And darning just like keeps the stuff that you have instead of getting rid of it when it doesn't work, but it's also much more environmentally friendly and good for everything to like keep the old things that you have. I just wish I had less of the old things, so I had less things in general, but hey ho. Right, I'm going to show you my acquisitions. I got these from the Liberty sale. 2 skeins, they are sport weight yarn, and this is called Daughter of a Shepherd RAMJAM. I love this wool. It's wool from mixed breeds, sport weight, 169 meters per 50 grams skein. Recommends 3.25 to 3.35 mil needles, and a gauge of 24 stitches on 3.5 mil needles. Sourced, scoured, and spun in the UK. Daughterofashepherd.com. The wool reminds me a lot of Biches and Bouches, and it's just lovely. It's really nice. I think it's worsted spun. It has that light feel to it. It's 2-ply. I got 2 colours. This is colour number 2, and this one is colour shade number 1. And it tells you when the sheep were clipped as well. Both of these were from a summer 2018 clipping. I'm going to make stripy socks for myself with them, and I'm really excited. So I'm away for 1 month now from home, and the projects I brought with me are minimal. So one of the projects was this one, which I've already finished, but I do have some leftover yarn. I'm not sure what it is enough to make, but we shall see. Maybe a headband, I'm not sure. Then the only other wool I brought was, I brought my, I should show it to you, but I'll show it to you later. I brought my Welcome to the Jungle sweater, so I'm going to be mostly working on that. I brought this to make a pair of socks, and hopefully a second pair of socks, like shorties maybe, or something. Maybe I'll just keep it and combine it with something else. Probably better to do that. I brought this wool to finally make my Korshavn's slipover, which is the slipover that I've been planning to make for ages. So I'm going to get started on that really soon because I'm excited for that. And I brought this to make myself a honey clutch. So I don't have the zipper or the fabric or anything. I'll probably get that in Canada. But that's all the projects I have, literally. A pair of socks, a honey clutch, a slipover, and then if I really get desperate, I've got, well, yeah, and the Welcome to the Jungle sweater. If I get desperate, I've got these left over, which is a little bit less, I would say, than what I used. A little bit less, if potentially just equivalent to what I used to make the hat. So this is what the wool looks like. It's hand spun, not particularly even, 2-ply. I think I did finish it so it's nice and like relaxed and loose. I really like this wool. I think it is worsted prepared and worsted spun. I think it was like roving that I spun, but don't quote me on it. It doesn't feel like woolen spun. It definitely wasn't woolen spun because I don't know how to spin woolen. I only know how to spin like worsted spinning, where you spin with the fibres instead of spinning sideways. But the preparation, I'm not 100%, but I think it's worsted, where the fibres are combed and they're straight and all going in the same direction. Anyway, so that's the wool that I had for a month. We'll see if I get through it all. I think I will, but I might not. I definitely won't get anywhere near. I did bring the wool. I brought the wool for the top of the Welcome to the Jungle sweater, and then I brought one ball each for the next section of the Welcome to the Jungle sweater. So that was what I envisioned myself potentially getting to, was finishing the leopard spots and getting to the swirly bits. But we'll see. I'd be surprised if I finished the leopard spots. But then again, I don't have that much other knitting, so I will be kind of forced to do that. And also in this, where I'm going to work now, I will not have as much commuting knitting. I won't have any commuting knitting. So, anyway, why am I saying this to you? I don't know. I will check back in with my whips next. Okay, so I'm obviously in a different place. I never managed to get my whip out to show you, so I'm going to show it to you now. It lives in this Sweaty Betty bag, which I got, I ordered something on eBay and they sent it in this. It's really kind of cool because it's got, like, I don't know, like a little, like, I'll show you. I can't describe it, I have to show you. Anyway, let me take out my project and show you this bag because you know me, I like to talk about bags. Anyway, I ordered something on eBay. I think it was something like some jumper or something, like something to exercise in, and they sent it to me in this. But look at this. It's like, I guess you could put like a water bottle in there and it would keep it from falling over. It's kind of a cool thing. You could definitely put some yarn in there and keep it from rolling all over the place. Especially if your yarn is Arwetta and it's like that shape. Let's just take a little look here. Does it fit 2 balls of Arwetta? Yes, it does. Look at how cool that is. So, just saying, if you have a sweaty Betty bag, a good project bag. Anyway, this is the two colours that I'm going to use for the swirly bit, if I ever finish the leopard spots, which is, you know, up in the air. I recognise that these are very low contrast, but I spoke about it a while ago when I was talking about my colour choice. I like the swirlies in a low contrast much more than I like it in a high contrast. So anyway, here is the project. I'm keeping the wool in this lovely project bag that I got in, actually here in Canada, in Banff. It's handmade and it's deerskin, and it just like grabs the yarn, so it keeps it from falling, like going all over the place, and I can just pull from it and it's great. Excuse my stuffed nose. Stuffed nose. I've always got some kind of physical thing when I come back in the second time. So here it is. I know you're waiting to see it. It's got this little tangly situation tangled up in it. This is what I'm using to knit this, and it's working out quite well. There she blows. Progress on my Welcome to the Jungle sweater. I know, it's impressive, right? It's grown at least half an inch since you last saw it. And it's only going to get slower as the increases continue. So here it is on this side, blue with pink spots. I love that. Here it is on the other side, pink with blue spots. I love that. So currently I'm knitting, this is like the neckline, and I'm knitting basically like this. So I'm basically doing the short rows because I haven't joined in the round yet. So I'm kind of doing the back short rows at the moment. But I'm slowly increasing, and at some point I will cast on a bunch of stitches and be in the round doing this. And continuing to increase until I get to about here. And then I'll change to the swirls and take the sleeves off. But, I mean, it's amazing. Takes me an hour for each row, 1 hour per row. But I love it. I love working on it. I love how slow it is in a weird way, because I've just like resigned myself to the fact that this is going to be the slowest jumper ever made, and it's enjoyable to just be like, oh, I'll do another row of this. And to just not be like, oh, when's it going to grow? When am I going to get to the next place? Because the answer is almost never is when it's going to grow and when I'm going to get to the next spot. This takes so long. The reason it takes so long is it's double knitting. So this is like 200 some stitches. But because it's double knitting, it's like 400, 500 some stitches. So I'm knitting 2 stitches for every 1 stitch that you see here. It means it's going to be double fabric, and it means it's going to be reversible. So that's really, 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 really cool. But it's also really, 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 really slow. And it is colour work, and you're knitting and purling. It's just a whole thing. My system that I'm using to knit this, like with my style of knitting, I'll do a video at some point of me working on this, like from like looking at it, because I've done a video of me doing it. If you want to see me doing a row, I think it's the first ever row I do. It's quite a silly video, but it's very long, and I filmed myself knitting the first row of this, and yeah, there's a lot of singing, a lot of cursing, but I got through it eventually. Anyway, what I would say was I'll do a video at some point of like the way that I'm knitting it, like from my perspective looking down, so you can see like the system I'm using. But essentially I am knitting it. I generally knit English. I can knit continental, but I usually knit English. I'm knitting English for this, and when I knit the pearls on the opposite side, I twist this pearl stitches. So that means on the other side I have to be aware of whether I'm knitting into the front of the stitch or the back of the stitch, because I don't want the pearls to actually be twisted, because they would only be twisted on one colour and opposite colours on one side.
it sounds so confusing, that's because it is, and I don't even understand what I just said. But the point is, if I let the pearls stay twisted, as the Crea Bear, I was just watching her podcast, she was talking about how she has twisted pearl stitches. And I reckon that makes sense, because when I knit Continental, I almost never purl, but if I were to purl a lot in Continental, I would definitely twist my stitches, because the way that I would purl is I would bring my finger forward and I would pick the pearl, which makes it a twisted stitch. But all you have to do when you do that is just knit into the back loop, and then it's not twisted. Anyway, that's a total side note. So here is my whip. That's the only whip that I had at the stage that I was during this podcast. This is future me. I have done a bit of plain knitting, so it's a bit bigger than it was probably when you saw it. Would have seen it in Oregon. Oh, this is confusing. Anyway, welcome to the jungle. So thank you for watching. That's all my whips. I showed my acquisitions already, and I will catch you next time, which will probably be much sooner, now that I'm in Calgary and have my own space, and yeah, hopefully I won't have a stuffy nose next time. But thank you so much. If you are watching, please subscribe. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy when people subscribe. Come and find me on Instagram. I love to chat, so if you also love to chat, we shall be a perfect match. Anyway, my Instagram is naomi.joy.knits, because Instagram cancelled me, so I had to choose a new name. Anyway, so yeah, please subscribe, leave a comment, and come and find me on Instagram. One thing I'm planning to do for the new year is knit through my stash. It's quite an optimistic goal, but we shall see. I do live on a boat, I do have incredibly limited space, and I am tired of having to move my yarn to get at my underwear drawer. And move my yarn to get a pair of jeans out of my drawer. So I need to knit through that stash, and that's my goal. Prayers and thoughts are welcome. It will be difficult, but hey ho. In the next episode I'll probably show you all the things that I gifted on the gift recipients, which is exciting, and one little acquisition I got for Christmas. Okay, I'll see you next time. See you later.